There are many things that I'd love to talk about, and I sort of can't yet. There are. Let me think. 1, 2, 3. About 6 or 7 quite major projects that are sort of bubbling under that I, usually for reasons of non-disclosure agreements, I can't talk about, and will be very exciting. So as soon as I get to them, we will do video blogs on them, and I will talk about them in more detail. Obviously, I can't release this information. Some of them are Black Library stuff. I know some fantastic stuff that's coming out from Black Library Games Workshop. Some of them are to do with things that I'm writing in other places, in the other forms. So we will get to see them sooner or later. And of course, I know a shed load of stuff about where things like the Horus Heresy and stuff are going to go, but it doesn't work that way. I can't give that kind of stuff away. And it's always a delight when I can actually tell you about something that is coming up. A really good example, because we got the go ahead just the other day from Rebellion for Solaris books. I wrote a short story for an anthology that's coming out in the autumn. I'm just seeing if there's a specific date there on the information there. October. It's called Magic, an anthology of the esoteric and the arcane, and it's a very, very impressive lineup of people that I feel very honoured to be amongst. We've just all been asked to write short stories about magic in all sorts of different ways, and I've written one that I've called Party Tricks, and is basically a political memoir that has a magical overtone. I'm sure there's a very great range of things that happen in the book. So Magic Anthology is coming from Solaris in October. There will be a UK launch, I'm sure, a signing. A great lineup there. I'm just looking down the list. We've got Audrey Niffenegger, we've got Will Hill, we've got Liz Williams, Christopher Fowler, Storm Constantine, Lou Morgan, Gail, Zeb Martin, Robert Shearman. I mean, just everybody in the book is going to have delivered something very nice. Hopefully I will match them in terms of delivering something readable. But it should be a great anthology, and I urge you to rush out and get one. I've actually done several short stories for anthologies in the course of this year. There's I wrote a Combat SF one for the Mammoth book of Combat SF, weirdly, which is out now, and also there's a book called Armoured, which is an American anthology, which has got a short story of mine about the last veteran of a battleneck suit war in retirement. So sure, I don't write much short fiction, certainly not sort of original short fiction, because a lot of it gets sort of channeled into Black Library and stuff like that. But that's 3 things in 1 year, and a couple of other things which I will talk about when they come closer. Yeah, always nice to write something just completely different for a change, which I enjoy very much. Lorena asks, as your #1 fan, well, thank you. Have you considered a move into detective scripting, and maybe choosing a city that never sleeps? You could base a scene on a major station. Detective crime novels, absolutely, very, very appealing to me indeed. I love the structure of a detective story, and indeed, New Deadwardians, which I was talking about just now, is in itself a detective fiction. So the structure of a detective story runs through a lot of what I do. A lot of people are asking about that. You see that cover there? It's the first issue. My first book for Vertigo, which is after 25 years of writing comics. It's a great treat to be doing that. It's getting some really, really, really good attention, which is very, very flattering. Some lovely attention at San Diego again this year, where I was up on stage with all the Vertigo luminaries, and it was lovely to be amongst them and for them to like this so much. New Deadwardians, if you don't know what it is about, it's an 8-issue limited series. We're hoping it does well enough for a sort of season 2 to come along. It's a detective story, it's a police procedural, it's a costume drama, and it's a horror story. All of those things at once. Set in 1910 in England, in an alternate universe, as it were, where there has been a zombie apocalypse in the 1860s, which has transformed the British Empire, and in order to keep the zombies at bay, the upper classes have been forced to become vampires. So it's Downton Abbey meets The Walking Dead, really. That's the elevator pitch. A lot of great interest, actually, from people thinking it might be a good TV show or something. But it's a costume drama. It's a character study. The main character, he's there on the cover there, that's Inspector Subtle. He's the last homicide detective, have you seen that? Last homicide detective in Scotland Yard. The series doesn't ever mention zombies as zombies or vampires by vampires. We don't use those words, but quite clearly they have had to take upon themselves some of the qualities of one type of the undead in order to be invisible to another type of the undead. And it's stratified London on a class basis and done all sorts of very weird things to society. And Subtle, who is a vampire, he's one of the what they call the young, that is to say, he's undead. They don't live as vampires. They don't wear capes and go around turning into bats and biting people on the neck. They keep their teeth filed. They try and eat and sleep and carry around their normal lives, stoically enduring being undead in order to keep society together. And he's called in to investigate a murder. One of the young, one of the vampires, has been murdered, not by any traditional means of executing a vampire, beheading, decapitation, impalement, or any of that kind of stuff. And he's got to work out who this guy is and why he's been killed and how he's been killed and this kind of stuff. And that's the plot. That's the case that he begins to investigate. It takes him to different parts of London and society, and we learn about the new Deadwardian era through his eyes, and learn perhaps even too much about it. It's fun. I've really enjoyed working on it. Ian Culbard, the artist, just has done superb stuff. Everywhere in this comic. Or I've said, this bit's set in Marylebone. He's found somewhere. They're all properly researched places. There's a real sense of genuine reality, beautiful, clear storytelling. Very excited by what he's been able to do there, and to collaborate with me, because we've spent hours on the phone talking about ideas. Some great stuff there, and some very subtle things that we've done in terms of the storytelling that I could only have done because Ian said, we could try and do this. So here's hoping that it's successful enough to do some more of that. Certainly, it's attracted some very great attention. So please go back, get back issues. It runs for another 2 or 3 issues yet. There will be a trade, of course, eventually. It's a very satisfying single story as well. I think the denouement will please people enormously, and it's also in places, dare I say it, quite funny. There's some. I think there was a couple of websites that have picked lines from the Deadwardians each month as their funniest line of the month, almost every single month. Each issue's had something picked out of it, so I'm very pleased with that. So that's New Deadwardians by me and Ian Culbard for Vertigo. Buy it now, it's great.